Hi guys, it's Mark Mains here with the Realty Firm. Again, I'm sitting here with Bruce Smith for another installment of the Money Minute. So today we're going to talk about rehabbing a property and if you can get all of the fixing money included in the mortgage. Bruce, a lot of investors kind of are foaming at the mouth, for lack of a better term, when it comes to that. Everybody, of course, wants as little investment in as possible to make your maximum return. So what do you think the best strategy is for a person who's about to go in, fix and flip a home?
Okay. Well, there's a number of strategies, Mark. First of all, thank you for having me. But there's a number of strategies, but it really depends on the extent of the renovations. There is a product out there called the Purchase Plus Improvement Mortgage, and that allows you to borrow up to $40,000 or about 20% of the purchase price in order to do renovations. Now, under that program, you need to have all of your quotes up front because they would be presented to the lender at the time of your application. The lender is going to review those type of renovations, and if they think they add value to the house, then they'll approve them, and they're really looking for a dollar-to-dollar value improvement. So if you're going to put in a new kitchen, $20,000, they'll accept $20,000 for a new kitchen. If you're putting in something, say a hot tub, they may look at it and say, well, no, a hot tub really doesn't add value to the house, so they may disallow that type of investment. So for bigger type investments, you actually need to have a construction type financing. They look at it as beyond, it goes beyond renovations. You're actually doing what's called construction financing. So you need actually a construction type mortgage.
Okay.
And it's done a little differently. There's no limits on the amount of money you can finance, but the same type of thing. You'd have to have all of your quotes in advance. You'd have to prove that you've got permits in place, site plan, things like that. So there's a lot more paperwork involved in that. But it is possible. You could, again, there's no limit on the amount of financing. Your third option is really, and it's the way that it used to be, people would buy properties and then they would use their line of credit for the investing. So that's another way that people do it. But again, you have to have now that money available on hand as well. So if you're looking to use other people's money, we always suggest either the Purchase Plus Improvement loan or construction type financing.
Okay. Now I have a question for you on quotes. Whose quotes do they accept? Because as you know, a lot of people who are fixing and flipping homes do most of the work themselves. So they have the numbers in their head, but how do they prove that that quote is a legitimate number versus just pulling out numbers and putting it on a piece of paper?
Okay, so they actually have to have a quote. So if they're using a contractor, they would take the contractor's quote, and that would include materials and labor. If the person's doing the work themselves, they won't get credit for the labor, but they can get a quote for materials. So they could go to Home Depot, Rona, that type of place, receive a quote for all the materials they're going to use, and that would be accepted by the lender. Now you have to be careful because lenders are often reluctant to facilitate changes after that initial submission. So you can't say, I'm going to spend $20,000 renovating a kitchen and then spend $20,000 renovating the bathroom. They're going to frown upon that. So once you get those quotes from Home Depot, from Rona, or from your contractor, you're pretty much committed to having the work that's been quoted, doing the work that's quoted.
Okay, now you talk about saying $20,000 for a kitchen and then putting it into a bathroom. What would happen if they were to do something like that? Would the mortgage company take the money back or call the mortgage? How would that work?
Well, that's where you get into the issue because they're going to have someone come out and appraise the work. So typically what's going to happen is that you're submitting the quotes. They're going to, on closing of the house, they're going to release the funds for you to obtain the house, but they're going to hold back that money that you're going to use for the renovation. So let's say they're holding back $40,000. They will have appraisers go out and just inspect the work to make sure it's done, and then once it's done, the lender will notify the lawyer. Usually the money's held by the lawyer, and the lawyer will release the funds. So yeah, that could be a problem if you're actually submitting different work than what was originally approved. They may deny that, and then you'll be forced to come up with your own funds to pay out, say, that $20,000 extra work that wasn't pre-approved.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for another installation of the Money Minute. If you have any questions, all of our contact information will be in below. Have a wonderful day.